All right, Miss Aaliyah, wholesaler, congratulations. This video is about how to wholesale as a Zen's Tea House franchise at farmers markets, right, Aaliyah?
Yes.
So first question.
Okay, let's try this question. I guess, what are the no-nos as far as being a Zen's franchise? Like something that I can't do.
Well, you remember that email I sent?
Yes.
About nothing political, nothing religious, nothing crazy like that. And just follow the advice we give you and you will make sales. And when I say follow the advice, I mean do it quickly. If you go slow, you will miss out on opportunities because in business, there's never a guaranteed opportunity. Business is not an equal opportunity employer. You know, it's not. Some people, you're in the right place at the right time and you jump on it. If you wait, you will miss your opportunity. And you are jumping on the opportunity to run and operate your own Zen's Tea House in Newport, and that's a nice area.
Yes, very nice. Another question that I had, I guess, is I don't have to do anything. I never heard about the health permits, but I do not have to give them my information, or do I as a wholesaler?
Any health department, franchise tax board, ED, anything, you just call me. That's my job.
Perfect.
I take care of that.
Okay, so I do not have to be worried about that. And then, okay, I said major pitfalls that I should know about doing wholesale.
So there are three problems with every tea company.
Okay.
Everyone, myself included. You buy too much of the wrong tea. You have tea that, well, first off, what tea to buy, right?
Okay.
Number one, you need to know which tea to buy. The tea that you sell in Newport will not be the same tea that you sell in Whittier, in Tustin, LA, it's just different. So you know which tea to buy. You've already tested the market. Number two, make sure you buy the right amount of tea. I take that risk because if you ever have too much tea, I'll just buy it back. All right, and then how do you sell tea? How do you sell a specific tea? Give out samples. That's it. You make the sale, that's it. Those are the three biggest things no matter where you're at. Now, there are some environmental struggles because if there's rain, right? You don't want to be around people with too much music. I don't like being around, if you're going to do health and wellness events, you don't want to be right at center stage. You don't want to be at Coachella and no one can hear you. Which, by the way, some of our best events are like one-timer events. You know, we negotiate a deal where we say, hey, we're going to offer free tea, we're going to offer samples and education. Let us go in for free, and they typically treat us better. If a company or a nonprofit or city says, oh no, we're going to treat you like everyone else, then they're probably going to screw you over. So I would be weary. Anytime you have invites or business ventures, just call me so I can guide you through the process. I've been over a decade doing it. That's the benefit of being able to work with me.
Okay. Perfect. Private events, you've already clarified that I can take those, just kind of
let me know in advance, because I say I don't do anything religious or political. I've gone to church events. I've done the Pride Festival. I've done those things. I've done all of them. And I'll tell you, they're hit or miss. You want to be really specific on that stuff. And I would actually advise you not to go anything that's explicitly religious or explicitly like political or like pride, or even like military. It's more like Americanism, you know, it's
that one's more broadside.
That's something that everyone can kind of fall into unless you hate America, which people do. But I would say go to something that everyone is welcome to. The more hyper-focused you are, the exclusivity. Go to events where you know that no matter who you are, you're welcome. And that's not true at church events. That's not true at pride festivals. That's not true. It is true in American. Like, you could be completely anywhere, and that's that. But I'm trying to think of other examples. 5Ks are not a good run because just logistically, you go there, people are running, they're not going to grab it. So you have to think it out, and you want to go after people who are health conscious. That's a big deal. Health and wellness fairs are a cup of tea. Christmas festivals, our cup of tea. That's we do really well with those.
Okay. Let me see here. Maybe talk about like, I guess the other failures. I only know like maybe like one or two people, Jesse and Daniel, that do wholesale. So
There's Miguel and there's Kane.
okay. So can you tell me, I guess, a little bit maybe about
Oh,
anybody who's failed? Yeah, like kind of like,
people who don't prioritize me.
okay.
People who use me like a credit card. I've cut out people before years ago. They just didn't take care of me, and they didn't prioritize the brand. They didn't care about the brand. They cared more about the money than the brand. And I've made them suffer for it. I did, because what they would take wholesale, they would take orders,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would fulfill it, and then they take the money. They were like stealing, it's much easier just to be everything upfront and transparent. And even if that means like in live time, hey, I'm using this to start my own business. I want to use Zen's Tea House. I want to do a slow conversion, like with Luis in Norwalk.
Yes.
Like I was talking to them, don't be deceitful. If you're deceitful, that's not good for either one's relationship. It's in business, you want to be professional, you want to be above reproach, you want to be someone that you want to work with. Because at the end of the day, when we part, hopefully we'll be on good terms. Be like, man, I love working with Aaliyah, I love working with Fernando. Sometimes he was a jerk, sometimes he was this, but that's business, and you want to have that transparency because that will take you farther. Absolutely, because I've worked in farmers markets and these events for over a decade, and I've seen people come and go, and the ones that last are the ones that care about the reputation. So don't throw your reputation on the floor for $1. I'm telling you, don't do that.
Okay.
And that includes having a reputation with me and my employees. One of our wholesales, I said, I'm going to cut you off because you don't prioritize me. And he's like, I really need this. I was like, yeah, you're making good money. Don't mess this up. The sales reps, $500 to $700 at 10% rent. And that's on the lower side. Some of our sales reps have been working farmers markets since you were in middle school, right? Well, high school.
Yeah, that's still a long time ago.
So they've knocked out, boom, 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 boom. They're really, really, really good at sales. And so they're making about $1,500 netting a week, working 3 days. They're averaging $500 a day. That's it. And that's after they pay for the product, after they pay the rent, even if they have an assistant. And that's really good. $500 a day for like 5-6 hours of work, maybe an hour and a half preparation, drive time, depending where you're at. It's less than 8 hours. And it's fun. You know that.
Yes.
That's why you're taking this. So I gave you the opportunity to do
It's
Newport.
fun, and there's lots of like opportunity. Like this past market, actually, I got to meet somebody really cool. His name is Adam. Anyways, he runs like a business tech thing, and I've gotten in contact with him because I told him I wanted to be tech and finance. So I made a little connection. That was really, really great.
That's the real value of being here. We met the biggest celebrities, Tom Cruise, the other guy who was in the movie Titanic, I don't remember, all the Kardashian people, because we're at these events in Newport, bougie area, Brentwood, LA, go to Hidden Hills, private events, you will meet people, but beware of trying to go after the person with the money, usually the person who dresses like a bum. I'm sorry. You'd be surprised just how well connected they are. And mind you, I'm not like rolling the dough, largely because I could care less about the dough, so I invest in the company and I'm growing. And my wife gets to stay at home and take care of our 4, now 3 kids. Because our son is now in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
My son. So that would be a weary. Be careful showing favor to people you think are successful. And I made that mistake I've had some person who looked homeless, was blind, and I thought he was drunk, but he was just like he was blind. I didn't know, and the guy he liked the tea, and he was Asian. So you know how Asian people are very difficult to make sales. And I don't know. He knew I was Asian because he was blind. I mean, you hear my accent or whatever, but you know, he was a great customer, and is a great customer, and that was an example of me dismissing a stereotypical difficult person to work with in buying tea. Don't do that, and don't treat farmers markets or events like that. You show up 100% as if it's going to be your best one, and I guarantee you, Aaliyah, I guarantee you, not only will you do better at that market, but if you show up to every location as if you're going to knock it out of the park, you will do better, not just in your business life, but in every area of your life. Working for yourself, you'll be able to develop these type of techniques that will take you way farther than any 9-to-5 job or 4-year degree.
Okay.
That's a gold nugget in your pocket right there. Rich, wealthy men and women will tell you the same thing. Have you ever heard that before?
Something similar, but not exactly like that.
Dress to impress, like no. Like go every day as if you're gonna hit a home run for the World Series.
Okay. Well, I think that's the last thing I have, and unless you have like a end quote or anything that hasn't been touched on, I think that's all good advice. So.
The terms and conditions, that contract.
Yes, the most important thing.
Was that hard? Any
No.
questions about it?
No.
Anything confusing?
No.
Okay. Dressing the clothes, nothing
Yes,
crazy.
of course. I got you. I still have my hat too. The hat and the but yes. Awesome. Okay, I don't think there's anything else. What are you drinking?